Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. Once again, it is time for my client Carter's vlog. And training week started off a little rough. Midway up, he missed a 315 bench. It has to do with the fact that he's been cutting. I think he cut about 18 pounds or so. Dropped down to 200. He wanted to get leaner, needs to be fit, needs to be healthy. Because he's 39, he may be closing in on 40 now. So, again, he cares about these things. He's trying to be fit, trying to be healthy. So he trimmed down a little bit. But the downside, his bench went down a little. Because I think the best bench we had him at was a 325. But, he was 17, 18 pounds heavier. So the beauty of some of this is, though, now that he's finished cutting, guess what? We can continue to grow those deficient areas. His posterior chain and everything is weak. He's had a lot of overuse injuries and stuff there before he hired me. And so a lot of my initial time with him has been working on just rehabbing those areas. So for supplemental work this week, he did the buffalo bar bench press as a primary assistance movement. Then we do some lat pull downs, right? And I let him choose between lat pull downs and pull-ups, depending on how his forearms and elbows and stuff are doing, because he's had a lot of issues there, and we do run into problems with that. We do run into some issues there. So we do lat pull downs. We do one-arm dumbbell rows. And yeah, we go pretty heavy on these, obviously. And, he's got good upper body development. So, we get to his lower body lifts, and I remind people, they're like, well, his lower body's weaker. How's he advanced? Well, because he's benched 325. I've seen him do, like 12 to 15 pull-ups before, while weighing 200 plus pounds. That's advanced. But he's had some hip issues and low back issues and everything, which is one of the reasons he has a reverse hyper now, right? We're correcting those things. We're fixing those areas. Because they need it. And I'm going to get those numbers up, right? We're going to build all that up. He's going to be squatting over 400 before long, right? After that, we do lateral raises. Because again, working the shoulders, working his upper back. So if we look at those muscles that are being worked there, we just did lat pull downs, we do dumbbell rows, and we do lateral raises. Again, making sure his entire back shoulder girdle is getting some extra benefits. Then we finish off with band press downs, and that's all I ever have him do. He's got big triceps. He has a lot of issues with elbow problems, and so we just stick to the band press downs for the most part. And if I really need more tricep work from him, we'll just do some extra close grip wrenching. Right, close grip press will sort that. All right, squatting, we got 335, wasn't an all-out max. He decided to stop there, and I'm okay with that. Again, given the issues we've had with the lower body, I'm happy for us to even be at a 335 squat right now, because again, he was able to do it pain-free, nice and clean lift. Now he could have done more, and that's okay. It's a good training max, right? Good training max. After that, he does belt squats. Notice he's got that new Rogue Rhino attachment, which I like. Seems to be pretty good. I think it's definitely better than the setup he had before. And that's one of the things we've noticed with all this squatting, even though he's had some hip issues, right? He's had a lot of hip inflammation. We're not having it when he goes with a wide stance on these. So it's just interesting how that works, because as I've told you guys before, a lot of times the wider stance aggravates some lifters with some hip issues. For him, it doesn't. So again, just something a little different than what we see normally. So he does belt squats. We do, you guys guessed it, glute ham raises. Right, he does glute ham raises, and then we do reverse hyper extensions. So, again, working the entire posterior chain with this stuff. Between these two movements, we're getting a lot of glute, hamstring, and erector being worked, right? Hamstrings being a little more dominant out of those muscles on this movement. And then when we do the reverse hyper, which again, he's slowly building up on, right? He's slowly building these up. And again, he's still very, very weak on these. He's weak on reverse hypers and good mornings, and this is something we've noted. And when I say weak, meaning even for what he squats, they're weak, right? They're not proportionate. So what does this tell us? Posterior chain is the problem, right? His entire posterior chain. And that's why he's had hip issues. That's why he's had low back issues. All right? Because of these things. And these movements are going to correct that. And I really like when I have someone who's had back issues like that, if we do reverse hypers before we introduce good mornings. And you'll see good mornings later in this clip. So I'd like some time to build that area up. And then that combination together will really, really fix those areas. It will really fix his posterior chain issues. All right, speed benching, we do 3 sets, closed, medium, and wide. He went with bands this week. All right, after that we do, again, lat pull downs. And let him use whatever grips and stuff he wants on this. And it's fine to rotate a lot of grips. You guys see me on pull-ups. This last week, couple weeks, I've been rotating the grip every workout, right? Every single workout I change the grip. Again, helps us avoid overuse, helps us get more overall hypertrophy. You know, you'll see people who'll say silly stuff with these movements. Oh, don't do these wide because they don't do this or that. It cuts range of motion. Like, really, you need to be doing all of them. You're going to get more back development. You're going to have less overuse issues. All right, after the lat pull downs, we do some front raises. Again, working more chest, working front delt, upper traps. Again, this is a great bench builder. I've had a lot of luck with this personally in helping to get my bench up, like doing front raises. He's doing them with a plate still, which I used to do. Of course, I do them with dumbbells now personally, but I still like the plate ones, right? Problem we run into is getting enough weight, unless you want to really, really rep them out, which is also fine. All right, then we do more dumbbell rows, right? One arm dumbbell rows. And what is it I like about this movement? It takes your back out of the equation, and it's also good for grip training. Don't use straps on this. I caught one of my lifters who hadn't been sending me videos of his supplemental work a while back was using straps on these, and then he screams about his workouts have to be shorter because of his gym time limits. You know, and he's wrapping straps around for multiple sets of these each time. It's like, well, come on. You're losing the grip benefits. It was so he could sheet it up. But notice Carter does them fairly strict, right? So we don't have to worry about that. They'll just help build his grip. I like them as a grip training tool. All right. And then we do more band press downs. Band press downs. These are a bread and butter movement for a lot of my lifters. I'm a big fan. And some of my lifters, if you guys have noticed, are starting putting attachments on and stuff to change the angle. I'm perfectly fine with that, just to vary things, change things up. Although I will point out, you'll lose a little bit of the possible grip training benefits by doing that. But not really that big of a deal. All right, speed boxes this week were against bands with Buffalo bar, right? Speed pulls, he was able to do bands this week without it hurting his hip. He hadn't been able to do chains, but he's got these little minis. I think some of the Rogue minis now. And he was able to do these against bands, you know, with those mini bands, because it didn't seem to shift him in a way that created pressure on his hip in a way that hurt. So we're good. It was pain-free for him. All right, then we followed up with good mornings. He had to go very light on these. Like, I was shocked at how hard these are right now, even with 95 pounds. I'm like, right, because this brings out your weak links. We see them displayed here. So he can only use this much weight, right? I've got clients who do up to 405 for sets of 10. So that's where he is right now on these, and that's okay. It's okay. We build it up. Since we know this is a weak link, we can see that it's a weak link. We train it until it's not a weak link, and then we train it some more. And then, of course, he finishes up with the standard glute ham raise and reverse hyper. And even though I've kind of rotated the glute ham raises out for myself, a lot of my lifters do them. Again, I have found this is good for almost everyone. This is almost lazy programming for your posterior chain. If someone has access to all this equipment, finish your lower body workouts with glute ham raises, reverse hypers, you're probably going to get stronger, right? Your squat and deadlift are probably going to go up as a result of that, even if you don't know how to program. Mainly because they're just that effective of movements, right? They're so effective. And there he is finishing up with the reverse hypers on his scout hyper. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys next time.